vowels in other languages. We have been discussing vowels in English, in American English, and British English. And you may know about the differences which are found even within American English, like the English which is spoken in various states of America, various cities of America, right? So the point is that American or British vowels, that's not the whole story. We should also be able to discuss vowels which are spoken in other languages, like the other language families of the world. And in this session, we are going to talk about some of the languages other than English. And the point would be that how can you describe vowels of your mother tongues, of your languages, or the unfamiliar languages which are spoken in your region, and how can you describe them in terms of the vowel sounds known to you, and in terms of the any common reference. That common reference may be cardinal vowel system, primary cardinal vowel system, or the secondary cardinal vowel system, or the reference could be like your lingua franca, right? So that's the point for this session. Vowel systems are different across languages, right? And that's the case that we have different languages. If the vowel system was the same, then we could have one similar language, right? So vowel system is different across languages. That's an important point. And when we talk about the vowel system, that the vowel systems are different, then we mean that the number of vowels and the quality of vowels within different languages is different, right? And that's why we have different system, right? Languages have very peculiar, very different features for their vowels. And I can give you the example of Urdu language. Like in Urdu language, there are 7 vowels as per the experts and the already known studies. There are 7 nasal vowels, right? Which is a very typical idiosyncratic, quality of the Urdu vowel system, right? The inventory of the Urdu vowel. Because nasal vowels are by default nasal, and they have phonemic, quality, because they have the ability to change meaning, right? So the vowels in different languages, they have very particular features of that language system. And therefore, the inventories of different languages are distinguishable, right? Like English has 20, the RP accent of English has 20 vowels, right? And the American vowels might be like 22, right? And we have languages like the Spanish language, which has 5 vowels, and Japanese language also has 5 vowels. And you can also think about other languages. Then vowels in British English are without R coloring, but the American English is R-colored English, right? So the vowels are R-colored, some of the vowels, right? So that's related to the features of the vowels. And then you can think further that how many vowels are there in Urdu? You can think about that, and you can describe them. And then you can also think about the vowels in other languages like Arabic, right? Like the 3, small vowels, which are very important, every vowel is important, but which are very interesting for the sake of, the classical Arabic, like Zer Zabar Pesh, right? Like E, A, and U, very, small vowels, right? So you can also think about them, and you can also further analyze and just speculate at this stage about the vowel sounds of your own mother tongues, right? And then you can further work on it, that how vowels are realized, how vowels are, maintained by different languages, how the vocalic inventories are different across languages. So I'm showing you the, vowel systems of 3 languages. Let's have a look on them, and then we would further continue discussion on them in the sessions to come, right? So vowels are there in Spanish, in Japanese, and also in Danish, right? So the Spanish language has 5 vowels, okay? The one is quite front, right? And then close to the mid-high position, A, right? Then A, right? Not quite back, but ahead of the quite back. And then one back vowel, O, and then U, right? So 5 vowels which are in Spanish language. In Japanese, A, but this E is different than the Spanish E, right? Because the Spanish E is quite from the front, right? This is a little bit backward, the Japanese E, and then it is not exactly at the last point of the high position. It's a little lower, right? So you can just think about them. And similarly, this A, the A sound is also different in Japanese, different than the Spanish. This one may be a little bit similar, and same is the case with this one. And here is another vowel, which is typical of Japanese language. You see, that's the rounded bake vowel, but not exactly rounded. This is the very little rounded. If you remember the 16th vowel of the secondary cardinal vowel system, then you can just think about this sound, right? And they are using this asterisk, right? Because this is not typical of the rounded bake 16th vowel, right? Because it is different. And then the Danish vowel, which is front rounded but different. Again, the asterisk sign is there. And same is the case with this, right? And Danish has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 vowels, right? So you can just imagine that how is this rich discussion possible on the vowel sounds of different languages, and then how languages differ, how the language inventories are different, and how can we further develop our discussion on the vowel sounds in various languages of the world, right? And then the point is that we must be, as the expert of phonetics and phonology, we must be in a position to describe sounds which are unfamiliar to us, which are not really spoken by us, but still we are in a position to describe them. And that's an important requirement from the experts of phonetics and phonology.